The new cards are out. Holy shit. So the first card revealed, Therazane. 7 mana, 7 to 5. Neutral elemental. Death Rattle. Double the stats of all elementals in your hand and deck. I don't really know what you're ever playing this in Wild. Seems pretty horrible in Wild. I would give this completely unplayable in Wild, personally. I'd like to apologize if there's any background sounds. I just moved into a new place and I have roommates. This guy is blasting the fuck out of music in the background. Whatever. Uh, the new Warrior Legendary, Deep Miner Brann. 6 mana, 2/4. Battlecry. If your deck has no duplicates, your Battlecries trigger twice for the rest of the game. Huh? Huh? I don't really understand like why this is a warrior card, but you know what? It's cool, I guess. I don't really see how this is that crazy for Arena Warrior. I mean, you probably still play it just because it's good enough, right? But you can't double Odin with this, which would be the use case. They nerfed it so multiple Odin battle cries don't do anything. That was a hotfix, like bug fix a few patches ago. So you don't really have like anything simple that you can use this with. I'm sure someone's gonna figure out like a combo or you play this, and then on like turn 7 or 8 you have like an OTK, because doubling battle cries without having to spend mana on Bran is pretty big, but I couldn't tell you what it would be right now. I'd say this card is likely going to be playable though. Warrior can definitely make value from an effect like this, even though it's really slow because they have all that armor game. They have a lot of removal. Even yeah, I think this card's definitely might have like a use case. I don't know what it could be, but there's no way a card like this is never playable. I That's all I can really say for it. Crimson Expanse. 4 mana, 2 durability, location. Choose a damaged minion. Summon a copy of it that goes dormant for 1 turn. I think this card's completely worthless in both Warrior and Demon Hunter. I don't really understand what it's supposed to be for. Like, in Standard, I get it. You can, like, have, like, a big bomb. It trades, and then you can get a copy of it. Like, if it has Rush, it'll be useful the next turn. But in Wild, this card's way too slow. It doesn't really do anything. I don't think this card sees any play whatsoever. Burning Heart. 1 mana. Deal 2 damage to a minion. If it survives, give your hero +3 attack this turn. This card, and it's Fire Spell. This card, however, might be really good. You can deal damage to your own minion, which doesn't really make much of a difference. And in, say, like a Naga Demon Hunter, you just shoot your own minion, and who cares? It's 1 mana, gain 3 attack. You don't really have to care, because most of your minions have like 3 health. Almost all your minions have 3 health in like a Naga Demon Hunter. You can play this in like Odd DH, which might be decent. I think this card is runnable in like an Odd Demon Hunter. In Warrior, you don't really care about this. You want Whirlwind effects if you're going to be damaging your own minions because it really synergizes with um, Armor Vendor, but I don't really see this doing anything in Warrior. For Warrior, it's definitely not playable. For Demon Hunter, it's definitely a playable card. Another neutral legendary, Marut Stonebinder. 7 mana, 5/6. Battlecry. If your deck has no duplicates, discover an elemental to summon, add the others to your hand. This card's just terrible in Wild. It's so slow. There's no reason to ever play this in Wild. It's completely unplayable. I don't really have much else to say. So here's some more neutral cards. Iridescent Gyreworm. 3 mana, 4/3 elemental. Death Rattle. Give each of your minions a random bonus effect. If you don't know what that is, it's like all the relatively usable keywords. Divine Shield, uh, Rush, Wind Fury, Stealth, Poisonous, Lifesteal. I'm probably missing like one. Taunt. I don't think I'm missing any. Oh, Reborn as well. I don't think this makes the cut, but this is definitely a good option off of things like Wandering Monster. This is insane off of those. There might be a world where you can play this in like an elemental deck. I don't see it. I think this card's pretty unplayable pack filler, I'm not gonna lie. Shell Spider. 2 mana, 3/2 elemental. Battlecry. If you play an elemental last turn, draw a card. This is decent. It's just a decent card. There's a world where this will see play in like elemental decks. The thing is, elemental decks are bad. This is probably the best elemental in a bad elemental deck, if you get what I'm saying. I don't really see where this sees play, but whatever it is, whatever elemental deck is going to be playing this will run it as for sure. So I'm going to give it, a playable card, but it's still not playable in a good deck. Stone Drake, 6 mana, 2/8. Divine Shield, Taunt, Lifesteal, cannot be targeted by spells or hero powers, and Mental Dragon. That's kind of decent. I don't really know where you would run it. Maybe in like a Dragon Priest at best? Dragon Paladin? I don't really think so. The thing is about this card is it's too slow for a defensive deck because it's 6 mana. If this was 5 mana, like 2/6, it would be nuts. Genuinely. Because 5 mana is really where you have that break point of aggro decks are going to hit your face and kill you. You need a roadblock like Ziliax in the past. That's what Ziliax did. But this card, just 1 mana too expensive, I feel. Maybe there's a world where it sees play and I'm just not seeing it. I really don't know. The art is amazing. The art is beautiful. Like, genuinely. I don't think this card sees play in Wild, but I think it's genuinely just 1 mana shy of being playable, and that's why. So these are Rogue and Demon Hunter. No, this is a Demon Hunter card. Okay, the next ones are... Yeah, these are Rogue and Demon Hunter. Fell Fissure. 4 mana, deal 2 damage to all minions. At the start of your next turn, deal 2 damage to all minions. Fell. This card's terrible. If it said all enemy minions, it would be a pretty good card. Genuinely, it would be a pretty decent card. But the fact that it says all minions means you're killing your own minions, which doesn't feel good. It definitely, if it said all enemy minions, I think this would be a very playable card in like Reno DH. But the fact that it says all when you're kind of like a mixed tempo deck in like Reno DH, it's just never playable. This card's completely bad. It's bad. Shade Stone Skulker, Rush, Battlecry, take your weapon and gain its stats. Death Rattle, give it back. This is a pretty decent card, actually. If you play, like... Let me think. If you play, what's it called? Dread Prison Glaive with this, and, like, Odd Demon Hunter, it's just a 1 mana 2/3 with a Rush. That's pretty decent, like, after you swing once. And if you don't swing, it's a 1 mana 2/4 with a Rush that gives it back anyway. That's a pretty decent card. I'm not gonna lie. I think like Odd Demon Hunter might be playable this expansion, or not this expansion, after this patch. These 2 cards have been really good. And Rogue, I'm not really seeing where this comes into play. Like maybe an Odd Rogue again, you could make a 1 mana 3/3 or 1 mana 3/2 with a Rush. That's might be decent enough, genuinely speaking. Actually, yeah, maybe you do run these in both the odd decks. I think this card might be playable. I'm gonna give it playable. I'm gonna at least experiment with it myself, but it's definitely a cool card. Yeah, pretty playable. If it gives attack from something like Volpur, that would be cool. Or if it takes like weapon buffs, that would be really interesting because yeah, it takes its stats. That could be interesting. Genuinely, you could play this in like Kingsbane or some shit. That'd be cool. Yeah. Other than that, not really seeing it anywhere else. I think it's just a cool card. It is an elemental, actually, now that I think about it. So you could play this with the Shale guy. That could be interesting. You have like an elemental like rogue or elemental demon hunter that's like aggro based. I don't know. This is a card that I definitely want to play with, though. I will say that. So I'm gonna give it a playable. This card, quick pick, 2 mana, 1/2 weapon. After your hero attacks, draw a card. Holy shit. I think this card might be really good in like an aggro demon hunter. It's like magnifying glaive, but -1 mana, and sure you draw less cards from it, but meh. It also has less attack, of course, but this is an interesting card. I don't know where you run it, but I don't see a world where this card isn't good. You could probably just run it in like Questline Demon Hunter as a good enough card that helps you like get that final tick. Because sometimes it is hard. Sometimes you're only drawing like 3 cards instead of 4 for your quest, and you're like, damn, I really wish I had the flexibility, and this gives you that. You might actually this might make the cut in Questline Demon Hunter. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sure for Rogue where you would ever play this. Like Pirate Rogue, you have a better weapon. Kingsbane, you have a better weapon. Odd Rogue is odd. Your Even Rogue's not real. Most rogue decks have a weapon. is what I've realized. This isn't great to eat with the last card because it's only a 1/1. I mean, 1 mana 2/2 of the rush is fine, but or 1 mana 2/3 is fine, but you lose the effect. I don't really think this card makes the cut in Rogue, but for Demon Hunter, I can see it being in Questline. Immic didn't update his website yet, so I don't really care. Fool's Gold. 1 mana spell. Get a random golden pirate and elemental from other classes. Hmm? I don't really think that makes the cut in Wild. I guess the fact that it's 1 mana, get 2 cards for your thief spells is pretty interesting. Shell Game also just got buffed to be 1 mana, or to 2 mana get 3, so I don't really know if it makes the cut over Shell Game. It's a lot more specific, which means you're not too happy because elementals and pirates are pretty bad randomly. I don't think the card makes the cut at all. I'm not gonna lie. Hidden Gem, 2 mana, 2/2, stealth elemental. At the end of your turn, restore 2 health to all friendly characters. Let's get this out of the way. In Rogue, this card's fucking worthless. It's so terrible. In Priest, however, you have a lot of overheal synergies. You can play this with I forget what it's called. It's a 3 mana card that overheal summons a minion for overhealed amount. You could play it with Hadonis. You could play it with the gem that summons a 2/3 when it's overhealed. You can play it with like a lot of different cards. You can play it with like cleric. You can to draw cards. I don't really know if it makes the cut. I think it's probably too bad even for priest, but it's definitely a card that has usage. And then Shadow Word Steal. Return an enemy minion to your hand, shadow spell. I think this might be ETC runnable in Shadow Priest, like Reno Priest, but I don't think you run it other than that. It's interesting. I think it might be a meta dependent card as well. Like if we were on Yogg meta or something, you would steal their Yogg. That would be cool. Other than that, meh. Meh at best. I don't really think any of these 3 cards are playable in Wild, so definitely unplayable. Yeah, well, this is the start of the mini set reveal season. So if you enjoy, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.